During the Sabbath meal at a religious leader's home, Jesus watched closely. He healed a man with a swelling. They set a trap to see if he would heal on the Sabbath. Jesus just pointed out the absurdity of rescuing animals on Sabbath, but not rescuing sick people. The Sabbath was a day of rest, yet human traditions often made it a burden instead of a joy. Some of our traditions can marginalise people. Our breakfast church is a great opportunity of doing things a little bit different. Allowing people in to something slightly more relaxed, something that doesn't quite look as churchy as a service like this. We should not underestimate how difficult it can be for visitors to come in to a service like this if they're not used to church. So what an opportunity we have in terms of the breakfast church and doing things differently. And I think we need to continue to think about how we do those things. And I'm sure you are praying with me that with Sophie starting earlier this month, that she's going to bring something fresh and new that will enable us to continue to. So then, after Jesus has pointed out or has healed this person and to go, he starts sharing stories. So in verses 7 to 11, Jesus observed the pushing and shoving for position at banquets, at weddings, probably at funerals, at every opportunity he served. So he shared a parable about humility. So often, there's we want to be proud of our achievements, and there's a sense in which that's good, but also going into situations and knowing that our achievements are only because of the place that God has placed us. That without God we would be nothing. So Jesus talks about taking the lesser seat. Arrogance is dismal. Humility is exalted. Arrogance is just living the lie. Lack with first and circumstances. Humility is honestly facing reality. We're going back to that. Those who humble themselves in obedience to God will receive chief positions in eternity. So what can we do to overcome bigotry? How humble are we? Do we fight to take the chief seats and exclude others with silly rules? Is our participation in society and church even for self-esteem or to help and serve others? We then go on to verses 12 to 14. And Jesus gives us a list of people that we shouldn't be. Or we shouldn't invite. It shouldn't be the top of the priority to invite. Friends, brothers, relatives, rich neighbours. His A list includes the poor, the crippled, the lame and the blind. How many people on Jesus' guest list of invitees do we even know personally? We invite those on Jesus' guest list. When we invite the poor, the crippled, the lame, the blind, we invite Jesus. In Luke 6:20, it says, "Blessed are you who are poor, for the kingdom of God is yours." Well, when we look at this church and when we talk about the future, we often think about, we want to bring in more people who can serve, more people who can help, bring in skills, bring in ideas, people who've got experience in faith. People, I think I heard someone, once say that, let's see the people come in, and then the money will follow. Well, if we serve the poor, the lame, the disabled, that doesn't necessarily follow. But it's still so vital to do. And God will look after the rest. Our society excludes the marginalised, causing poverty, crime, suicide, and drug addiction. Jesus taught the solution: social inclusion. And it begins with you and me. When we include the marginalised in our circle of friends, we begin to understand them and popularise the perpetuated their exclusion from society. When I first, many years ago, went to Africa for a year, not really knowing what to expect, no doubt having some preconceived ideas of what I would find, but trying to minimise those. I found some amazing people, amazing friends, people I can now call friends, people who could speak into my life as I could speak into theirs. So often in the media, we have this perception of the West serving Africa, but one of the key things that I learnt is how much we can learn from people right across this world. If Jesus was walking on this earth today, where would he be? In the middle of Gaza, Ukraine, supporting those who are being punished for actions of others. Alongside victims of natural disasters, floods, droughts, earthquakes. In this country, he'd be visiting the lonely, those isolated from society, those looked down on, the homeless, asylum seekers, disabled. Sometimes when we think about people who would like to join us, I've already said that. When we look at the person Jesus healed in this story, you can see that he was healed and then went on his way. Sometimes we think that we do our church activities and outreach purely so that we can see people come to church on Sunday. But often, it's just showing God's love. And then letting them go on the way is the right thing. and someone else will come alongside them in the future. The way that I really like the way that we welcome people in this church, but I'm sure there's more we can do. I was reflecting on when David first arrived. Jim met him at the door and brought him in, and brought him in. They sat together, and I'm sure that one of the reasons that David stayed was that relationship with Jim, coming alongside and actually sitting with him through that service and subsequent services. I remember a regional minister coming and preaching, and the one thing that really stood out was, he said, "Yeah, I see you're welcoming church. What about actually having someone stood in the car park, waiting for people to arrive? Bring them in, sitting rooms." Maybe Jim's actions were as a consequence of hearing that. I don't know, I can't remember the time of it. But that challenge of actually enabling people to come in. There's quite a long distance from the front door to these seats, and actually coming alongside and sitting with people, bringing people in, is a way of us to be inclusive, welcoming whoever wants to come, enabling people to stand to feel part of what we're doing through what we're doing in Practice Church, doing things